Chosen ones, get ready. Tonight you will 100% become the person God always knew you could be. Picture this. A radiant scroll unfurling in the heavens, your name etched in golden fire, glowing with divine purpose. That scroll isn't a dream, it's a decree, written before the stars were hung, calling you to this exact moment. Your heart is racing, isn't it? That's not fear trembling in your chest. It's the pulse of your spiritual awakening, the rhythm of a destiny you've felt but never fully named. You didn't stumble upon this message. Heaven hunted you down, chosen one, because tonight is your divine appointment, a sacred hour when everything changes. Before the clock strikes midnight, you will discover why every tear, every closed door, every sleepless night was not a punishment, but a preparation for a personal transformation so powerful it will echo through generations. Don't you dare scroll away. The next hour will rewrite your faith journey, shatter your doubts, and unlock the breakthrough you've been praying for. This is your moment to rise. Are you ready? Let me ask you something that might sting. Have you ever felt like God's promises were meant for everyone but you? Have you stood in crowded rooms, watching others step into their miracles while your prayers seem to vanish into silence? Maybe you've whispered in the dark, "Why not me, Lord? Why do their doors open while mine stay locked?" I see you, chosen one, carrying a weight no one else can see. A heaviness that whispers you're not enough, not chosen, not worthy. But tonight, God is rewriting that lie. Every struggle you faced, every rejection that bruised your heart, every dream that felt buried under the rubble of disappointment, it wasn't God abandoning you, it was God forging you. Picture a blacksmith hammering iron in a blazing fire. The blows hurt, the heat is unbearable, but the iron emerges stronger, sharper, ready for its purpose. That's you. Your pain wasn't pointless. It was divine preparation, shaping you for a destiny so magnificent it required a process most would never survive. But you did. You're still here, still believing, still hoping. That's not weakness. That's divine resilience. Let's go deeper. Think about the moments when life knocked you down. Maybe it was the job you lost despite giving your all, the relationship that crumbled despite your prayers, or the dream you chased only to see it slip away. The enemy wanted you to believe those were failures, proof you're forgotten. But God whispers a different truth. Every closed door was his protection, every delay his strategy, every tear a seed planted for your breakthrough. In Jeremiah 29:11, the Lord declares, "For I know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future." Did you hear that? God's plan isn't to break you, it's to build you into something unstoppable. Your struggles weren't random, they were strategic, carving out the strength to carry the calling he placed on you before time began. Picture Joseph, thrown into a pit by his brothers, sold into slavery, forgotten in a prison cell. For 13 years he faced betrayal, injustice, and silence. Yet Genesis 50:20 reveals the truth. You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good. Every closed door redirected Joseph to a palace where he saved nations. Your closed doors, they're redirecting you to a destiny far greater than you can imagine. Now, let's talk about what's holding you back. There's a chain around your heart, isn't there? It's not the weight of your circumstances. It's the phantom guard called fear. Fear of failure, whispering, "What if you try and fall?" Fear of inadequacy, taunting, "You're not qualified." Fear of success, sneering, What if you can't handle what's next? Fear doesn't announce itself with trumpets. It creeps in like fog, convincing you to lock your own destiny behind a door you were meant to burst through. But 2 Timothy 1:7 thunders, God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. That fear isn't from God. It's a lie from the enemy, desperate to keep you small. Think about Moses, standing before the burning bush, trembling with excuses. I could send someone else. That wasn't humility. It was fear dressed in religious clothing. Yet God used him to part seas and free a nation. Your fear? It's not a stop sign. It's a signal you're on the edge of something massive. Courage isn't the absence of fear, it's obedience in its presence. Tonight you're not just facing fear, you're firing it as the guard of your destiny. Here's where this gets real. You're not just watching this video. You're standing at a threshold. Picture a radiant door, your name carved in celestial gold, pulsing with the promise of your divine purpose. This door doesn't lead to a cozy room of comfort. It opens to a battlefield where you're not just protected, you're the protector. Not just served, but the servant. Not just receiving fire, but becoming it. Luke 12:48 warns, "To whom much is given, much will be required." Being chosen isn't about privilege, it's about responsibility. Behind this door are broken souls you're called to heal, dreams you're destined to birth, and generational curses you're anointed to break. This isn't just about your breakthrough, it's about the lives tied to your obedience, the families waiting for your testimony, the communities needing your courage. But this door has a timer, and it's counting down. Isaiah 55:6 urges, "Seek the Lord while he may be found. Call on him while he is near." Why while? Because divine opportunities have expiration dates. Miss this moment, and you might miss the destiny written for you. Let's pause for a moment. If this message is stirring your soul, if you feel that flicker of hope igniting, type, "I am ready to rise" in the comments below. Your declaration isn't just words. It's a spiritual contract, a signal to heaven that you're ready to step into your calling. And if this message is resonating deep within, consider supporting through Super Thanks to help us reach more chosen ones standing at their own thresholds. Your generosity isn't just a gift, it's a seed sown into someone else's breakthrough. Now, let's keep moving. So, how do you step through this door? It's not enough to feel inspired, you need to act. Faith without works is dead, says James 2:17. Your destiny doesn't need more prayers for open doors, it needs legs to walk through them. Let's make this practical. First, write down one goal for this week. Maybe it's starting that business God placed on your heart, applying for that job you've delayed. Grab a notebook right now and write, "This week I will." This isn't just a task. It's a declaration of faith, a step toward your divine purpose. Second, reach out to someone you need to forgive or reconnect with. Maybe it's a parent you haven't spoken to in years or a friend you've drifted from. Send a text or make a call today. That action isn't just reconciliation. It's breaking chains of bitterness that have held back your breakthrough. Third, take one step toward a dream you've shelved. If God gave you a vision for a ministry, register a domain name. If it's a creative project, sketch the first idea. These steps aren't random. They're seeds planted in faith, watered by obedience, that will grow into your personal transformation. Let me share a story to make this real. Meet Anna, a single mother from Chicago, who watched a message like this 6 months ago. For years, she felt called to start a community program for at-risk teens, but was paralyzed by fear. "I'm just a receptionist. I don't have the money or the know-how." Yet something stirred in her spirit. She wrote down her goal: start a mentorship program by summer. She called a local pastor she hadn't spoken to in years, asking for guidance. She took one step, creating a flyer on her old laptop. Today, Anna's program serves 25 teens, funded by local churches and a small grant she applied for on a whim. Her fear didn't vanish, she acted through it. Her story isn't a fairy tale, it's proof that one step in faith can unlock doors you never imagined. What's your step, chosen one? What's the one action God's been whispering to you? Now, let's address the elephant in the room, doubt. You're thinking, what if I'm not really chosen? What if this is just hype? That doubt isn't wisdom. It's the enemy's last attempt to keep you from your breakthrough. Ephesians 1:4 declares, He chose us in Him before the foundation of the world. Before you took your first breath, God pointed at you and said, that one's mine. Your doubts don't disqualify you, they authenticate you. Every hero in Scripture wrestled with doubt. Gideon hid in a wine press, yet God called him a mighty warrior. Peter sank in the waves, yet Jesus made him the rock of the church. Your doubt isn't a barrier, it's a bridge to deeper faith. Name it, call it out, and step over it. The door is open, and your destiny is waiting. Picture this, a vast battlefield, the air thick with spiritual warfare. Angels are stationed, swords drawn, guarding the path to your divine purpose. Demons tremble, knowing your awakening threatens their hold over your bloodline. This isn't just about you. It's about the generations you'll free, the lives you'll touch, the legacy you'll build. Revelation 3:8 proclaims, I have set before you an open door, which no one is able to shut. That door is open now, but it won't stay open forever. Jesus didn't say, wait for perfect conditions. He said, strive to enter through the narrow door, for many will seek to enter and will not be able. Luke 13:24. The clock is ticking, chosen one. Will you step through, or will you let fear write the end of your story? Let's pause again. If this message is igniting a fire in your spirit, type I am ready to rise in the comments. Your words are a beacon connecting you to a community of chosen ones across the globe, all stepping toward their destiny. And if you feel led, consider sowing a seed through Super Thanks to help this message reach others who need to hear it. Your support isn't just financial, it's a declaration that you believe in the power of this moment. Let's keep going. Here's where this video stands apart. It's not about chasing fleeting blessings, but about overcoming fear to claim your eternal calling. Too many messages promise quick fixes, but this one unveils how your deepest fears are the keys to your greatest breakthroughs. Think about David facing Goliath. His fear wasn't the giant's size, it was the weight of a nation's freedom on his shoulders. Yet he slung that stone, not because he felt fearless, but because he trusted God's promise. Your fear, whether it's starting over, forgiving someone, or stepping into the unknown, is the stone in your sling. Use it. Act through it. Your breakthrough lies on the other side. Let's get practical again. Fourth action step, identify one fear holding you back. Write it down. I'm afraid of, fill in the blank. Maybe it's, I'm afraid of failing again. Or, I'm afraid people will judge me. Now, beside it, write one action to defy that fear. If you fear failure, apply for that opportunity anyway. If you fear judgment, share your testimony with one person. Fifth, for you, commit to a daily practice because the blessings, each opportunity for the next 7 days, write 3 things you're thankful for. Gratitude isn't just positivity, it's spiritual warfare, shifting your focus from lack to abundance, from fear to faith. These steps aren't optional, they're the bridge between where you are and where God's calling you. Let me tell you about Michael, a 45-year-old teacher from Atlanta. He felt stuck, teaching the same lessons year after year, while a dream to write a book on faith and resilience burned in his heart. Fear of rejection kept him silent. What if no one reads it, he thought. But one night, a message like this stirred him. He wrote down his fear. I'm afraid my book won't matter. Beside it, he wrote, write one page. That page became a chapter, then a manuscript. Last month, a small publisher picked it up. Michael's book isn't a bestseller yet, but it's touching lives in his community. He'll vanish, his obedience still secret exam, a test designed by the heavens to prove your strength, your faith, your unyielding spirit. You, chosen one, you're not just meant to survive the storm. You're called to be the light that others navigate by. Your faith journey isn't about waiting for the waves to calm. It's about standing tall and shining brighter than the chaos around you. This moment, right now, is your chance to step into that role, to become the beacon God created you to be. Don't let this hour pass without claiming it. Let's talk about what's on the other side of that radiant door with your name carved in gold. It's not just a new job, a healed relationship, or a financial windfall, though those may come. It's a version of you that radiates unshakable confidence, rooted in the truth of who God says you are. Imagine walking into every room with a quiet authority, not because you're perfect, but because you've surrendered to His perfect plan. Picture yourself speaking words that shift atmospheres, making decisions that ripple through eternity, living a life that inspires others to believe in the impossible. That's the personal transformation waiting for you. Psalm 139:16 declares, your eyes saw my unformed body. All the days ordained for me were written in your book before one of them came to be. Every day of your life, every struggle, every victory was scripted by the Creator to lead you to this divine purpose. You're not here by chance. You're here by divine design. But here's the truth that will shake you. Becoming who God created you to be requires you to let go of who you thought you were. The world has handed you labels: too old, too broken, too ordinary. But those are counterfeits, shadows of the truth. You're not defined by your past mistakes or the opinions of others. You're defined by the one who spoke galaxies into existence and called you his own. Think about Esther, a young orphan girl raised in exile who could have stayed silent, blending into the crowd. But when her moment came, she shed the identity of just an orphan and stepped into her calling as a queen who saved a nation. What identity are you clinging to that's keeping you from your destiny? Is it the label of failure from a dream that didn't work out? Is it unworthy because of a sin you've repented tonight? God is handing you a new name, one that reflects your divine purpose. Revelation 2:17 promises, to the one who is victorious, I will give a white stone with a new name written on it, known only to the one who receives it. That name is yours, chosen one, but you must step forward to claim it. Now, let's get practical again. Your next step isn't just spiritual, it's tangible. Fourth, commit to one act of boldness this week. Maybe it's speaking up in a meeting when you'd usually stay quiet, sharing your testimony with a coworker, or signing up for that course you've been avoiding. Boldness isn't arrogance, it's faith in action, trusting God to meet you in your obedience. Fifth, create a vision board for your divine purpose. Grab a piece of paper or a digital app and pin images, words, or scriptures that represent the life God's calling you to. Maybe it's a picture of a family reconciled, a business thriving, or a community transformed. Place it where you'll see it daily. Habakkuk 2:2 commands, write the vision, make it plain on tablets, so he may run who reads it. This isn't just art, it's a prophetic act. Aligning your eyes with God's promises, these steps aren't busy work. They're bridges to your breakthrough, each one a declaration that you're ready to become who God says you are. Let me share another story to ignite your faith. Marcus, a mechanic from Atlanta, felt stuck in a dead-end job, his dreams of opening a youth auto shop fading with each passing year. He'd pray, "Lord, if this is your will, make it happen." But nothing changed until he watched a message like this one. Convicted, he took one step. He wrote a business plan, just one page, outlining his vision. Then he called a local non-profit, nervous but resolute, and pitched his idea. Within weeks, they offered him a small space to start. Today, Marcus teaches teens to fix cars, giving them skills and hope. His shop isn't just a business, it's a ministry, breaking cycles of poverty. Marcus didn't wait for a perfect plan. He took one step, and God met him there. What's your one step, chosen one? What bold move is God whispering to yours? Now, let's address the voices trying to pull you back. The enemy doesn't fight fair. He'll use your past, your insecurities, even your loved ones to keep you from this door. Maybe it's a family member saying, "Don't get your hopes up." Maybe it's a memory of a time you tried and failed. But Romans 8:31 thunders, "If God is for us, who can be against us?" Those voices aren't your truth. They're distractions, desperate attempts to keep you from your spiritual awakening. Picture David facing Goliath. The giant mocked him. His brothers doubted him. Even King Saul said he was too young. But David didn't listen to the noise. He listened to the promise. He picked up 5 stones and ran toward his giant. What's your giant? Name it. Is it self-doubt, financial lack, a broken relationship? Run toward it with the stones of faith, prayer, and action. Your victory isn't just for you. It's for every person watching, waiting for proof that God still moves mountains. Let's pause here. If this message is setting your spirit ablaze, type "I am ready to rise" in the comments below. Your words are a battle cry, uniting you with thousands of chosen ones stepping into their calling. And if you feel moved to help this message reach others standing at their own doors, consider supporting through Super Thanks. Your seed isn't just a donation. It's a spark that ignites someone else's breakthrough. Let's keep pressing forward. This video's unique angle is about embracing your divine identity over the world's labels. It's not just about overcoming fear. It's about redefining who you are in God's eyes. The world sees your scars. God sees your strength. The world sees your setbacks. God sees your setup for a comeback. Think about Paul, once called Saul, a persecutor of Christians. On the road to Damascus, a blinding light didn't just change his path. It changed his name, his identity, his destiny. Acts 9:15 says, "This man is my chosen instrument to proclaim my name." God didn't see Saul's past. He saw Paul's purpose. What does God see when he looks at you? Not your failures, not your fears, but a chosen instrument, a vessel of his glory. Tonight you're shedding the old names, doubtful, broken, ordinary, and stepping into the name heaven knows you by, beloved, powerful, unstoppable. But here's where the rubber meets the road. Stepping into this identity means letting go of comfort. Comfort is a cage dressed in velvet. It feels safe, but it keeps you small. Jesus didn't call his disciples to stay in the boat. He called them to walk on water. Matthew 14:29 says, Peter got out of the boat and walked on the water and came to Jesus. Notice that. Peter walked before the storm stopped. Your divine purpose doesn't wait for calm seas. It demands you step out in the middle of the waves. Maybe your waves are a toxic relationship you need to confront, a career change you've been avoiding, or a calling you've buried under excuses. Whatever it is, God's not asking for your perfection. He's asking for your presence. Show up. Take the step. Trust that the water will hold you. Let's make this even more real. Imagine a seed buried in dark soil, pressed down by dirt, surrounded by silence. It doesn't look like much, just a tiny speck in a vast field. But inside that seed is a mighty oak, waiting for the right moment to break through. Your life might feel like that seed right now, hidden, overlooked, pressed down by trials. But John 12:24 promises, unless a grain of wheat falls into the earth and dies, it remains alone. But if it dies, it bears much fruit. Your struggles were the soil, your tears the water, your faith the sunlight. Tonight, you're breaking through, chosen one. You're not just a seed. You're a tree of righteousness, planted by God to bear fruit that changes lives. Your breakthrough isn't just personal, it's generational, a legacy that will outlive you. Now, let's talk about the power of your words. Proverbs 18:21 says, "The tongue has the power of life and death." Every time you speak doubt, "I can't, it's too late, I'm not enough," you're building walls around your destiny. But when you speak faith, "I am chosen, God is with me, my breakthrough is now," you're swinging open the gates of heaven. Today, start speaking life over your situation. Write down 3 affirmations based on God's promises. I am strong in the Lord, Ephesians 6:10. My God supplies all my needs, Philippians 4:19. I am called for such a time as this, Esther 4:14. Say them out loud every morning. This isn't just positive thinking, it's prophetic declaration, aligning your words with God's truth. Your voice is a weapon. Use it to tear down strongholds and build bridges to your destiny. Let's pause once more. If this message is fanning the flames of your faith, type, "I am ready to rise" in the comments. Your declaration strengthens not just you, but a global community of chosen ones stepping into their purpose. And if you're led to support this ministry, consider a super thanks to help us reach more souls standing at their divine threshold. Your generosity is a catalyst for someone else's spiritual awakening. Let's dive deeper. Here's a truth that will set you free. Your destiny isn't a destination, it's a journey of becoming. Every step you take, every fear you face, every label you shed brings you closer to the person God created you to be. Think about Ruth, a widowed Moabite with no status or security. She could have stayed in her familiar pain, but she chose to follow Naomi, declaring, "Where you go, I will go." Ruth 1:16. That choice led her to Boaz, to redemption, to becoming an ancestor of Jesus. Your choices today, small, shaky, or bold, are weaving you into God's eternal story. What choice is God asking you to make? Maybe it's forgiving someone who doesn't deserve it, starting a project you feel unqualified for, or trusting God with a dream you've buried. Each choice is a thread in the tapestry of your divine purpose, a step toward becoming the miracle someone else is praying for. Now let's talk about the power of community. You're not walking this faith journey alone. Right now, thousands of chosen ones are watching this, feeling the same fire, facing the same fears, and stepping toward the same door. Hebrews 12:1 says we are surrounded by a great cloud of witnesses. That's not just the saints of old, it's the believers around you, cheering you on, praying for you, believing in you. Connect with someone this week who shares your faith. Maybe it's a friend you can pray with, a church group you've been meaning to join, or even a stranger in the comments below. Share your vision, your fears, your steps. Community isn't just support, it's strength. A reminder that you're part of something bigger than yourself. Your breakthrough isn't just yours, it's a spark that ignites others. Picture this, a vast banquet hall, tables stretching beyond the horizon, laden with blessings prepared just for you. The door to that hall is open, but you must walk through. The enemy wants you to believe the table's not for you, that you're too late, too broken, too small. But Jesus says in John 10:10, I came that they may have life and have it abundantly. That abundant life is yours, chosen one, but it's not handed to you on a platter. It's claimed through faith, action, and surrender. Don't let the enemy steal your seat at the table. Step through the door. Claim your place. Become the person God always knew you could be. Imagine a roaring river, its waters carving through stone, unstoppable, reshaping the landscape for miles. That's the power of your divine purpose, chosen one. A force that doesn't just flow through you, but reshapes the lives of everyone it touches. You're not called to trickle through life, barely making a ripple. You're called to surge, to overflow, to flood the dry places with hope, faith, and action. Right now, as you listen, the Holy Spirit is stirring a current within you, a divine energy that's ready to break through every dam of limitation. This is your moment to unleash that river and become a source of life for a world desperate for your light. Don't hold back. The time to flow is now. Let's talk about the power of persistence. The world might tell you that success comes from talent or luck, but God's word tells a different story. Galatians 6:9 urges, let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. Your harvest is coming, chosen one, but it's tied to your refusal to quit. Picture a farmer tending his fields day after day through scorching heat and bitter cold. He doesn't see the crop yet, but he keeps planting, watering, trusting the soil to do its work. Your faith is that seed, your actions the water, your persistence the sunlight. Every time you choose to keep going, despite rejection, despite silence, despite exhaustion, you're cultivating a harvest that will feed nations. Maybe you're building a ministry, writing a song, or raising a child in faith. Whatever it is, your persistence isn't just effort, it's worship, a declaration that you trust God's timing over your own. Keep planting. Your season of reaping is closer than you think. Now, let's get practical again. Sixth, commit to learning one new skill this month that aligns with your calling. If God's placed a vision for a business in your heart, take a free online course on entrepreneurship. If you're called to speak, practice storytelling with a friend. If it's creativity, try a new medium like painting or writing. Proverbs 18:16 says, a man's gift makes room for him and brings him before great men. Your gift is your key, but sharpening it is your responsibility. This isn't about perfection, it's about preparation, equipping yourself for the rooms God's opening. Seventh, set a boundary to protect your purpose. Maybe it's saying no to distractions like endless scrolling or toxic relationships that drain your energy. Write down one boundary today. I will not fill in the distraction because my calling deserves my focus. These steps are your armor, guarding the sacred space where your divine purpose grows. Act on them and watch God amplify your efforts beyond what you can imagine. Let me share a story to fuel your fire. Meet Lila, a 60-year-old retiree from Phoenix who always felt a tug to teach literacy to immigrants in her community. For years she dismissed it. I'm too old to start something new. Who would listen to me? But one Sunday, a sermon on stewardship pierced her heart. She took a step, volunteering at a local library to tutor one student. That one became 5, then a dozen. Lila learned basic Spanish to connect better, setting aside an hour each evening to study. Today, her literacy program helps over 50 adults read, write, and find jobs. Lila's not a scholar or a CEO. She's a woman who said yes to God's whisper. Her persistence didn't just change lives, it rewrote her own story. What's the whisper you've ignored, chosen one? What small step could unleash a tidal wave of impact? Let's talk about the power of your influence. You might think, I'm just one person. What difference can I make? But God doesn't measure impact by numbers. He measures it by obedience. Zechariah 4:10 asks, "Who dares despise the day of small beginnings?" Your small act of faith, a kind word, a bold decision, a quiet prayer, can spark a chain reaction that shifts destinies. Imagine a single match struck in a dark forest. It's tiny, but it can ignite a blaze that lights up the night. Your influence is that match, chosen one. Every time you choose courage over comfort, you're lighting a fire that others will warm their dreams by. Maybe you're a parent modeling faith for your kids, a co-worker showing integrity in a tough environment, or a friend offering hope to someone in despair. Your life is a message, a living epistle read by everyone around you. Don't underestimate the power of your spark. Now, let's address the temptation to compare. The enemy loves to point at someone else's highlight reel, their success, their platform, their blessings, and whisper, "You'll never measure up." But comparison is a thief, stealing the joy of your unique calling. 1 Corinthians 12:18 says, "God has placed the parts in the body, every one of them, just as He wanted them to be." You're not meant to be someone else. You're meant to be you, perfectly crafted for a role no one else can fill. Picture a symphony, each instrument playing a distinct part. The violin doesn't envy the trumpet. It plays its notes, knowing the music depends on its sound. Your life is a note in God's symphony, chosen one. Stop looking at the trumpet's part and play yours with all your heart. Your calling isn't louder or quieter. It's yours, and it's vital. Let's pause here. If this message is fanning the flames of your purpose, type "I am ready to rise" in the comments below. Your declaration is a chord in the anthem of God's chosen, resonating with thousands stepping into their divine destiny. And if you feel led to help this message reach others standing at their sacred threshold, consider supporting through Super Thanks. Your seed is a bridge, connecting this truth to hearts ready to awaken. Let's surge forward. This video's unique angle is about embracing your singular role in God's eternal symphony. Not just overcoming fear or redefining identity, but recognizing that your unique sound, your gifts, your story, your faith, is irreplaceable. Think of Rahab, a prostitute in Jericho, who hid the Israelite spies. She wasn't a priestess or a queen, but her faith turned her home into a haven for God's plan. Joshua 2:11 records her confession. "The Lord your God is God in heaven above and on the earth below." Her small act of courage didn't just save her family, it secured her place in the lineage of Christ. You're Rahab's heir today, chosen one. Your small acts, your unique contribution, are weaving you into God's eternal story. What note will you play? Now, let's talk about rest as a weapon. In a world that glorifies grind, God calls you to rest in Him. Hebrews 4:11 urges, "Let us strive to enter that rest so that no one may fall." Rest isn't laziness, it's trust, a bold declaration that God's got this. Picture Elijah, exhausted after confronting the prophets of Baal, collapsing under a tree, ready to give up. God didn't lecture him, He sent an angel with food and rest. 1 Kings 19:5 says, "An angel touched him and said, 'Get up and eat.'" Your soul needs nourishment, chosen one. Rest refuels your spirit, sharpens your focus, and prepares you for the battles ahead. This week, carve out 1 hour of intentional rest. No screens, no stress, just you and God. Maybe it's a walk in nature, a quiet moment with Scripture, or simply sitting in His presence. This isn't indulgence, it's strategy, arming you for your breakthrough. Let's get practical again. 8th, mentor someone younger in faith or experience. Maybe it's a teen in your church, a colleague new to the job, or a neighbor needing encouragement. Share one lesson God's taught you. about resilience, forgiveness, or trust. Titus 2:3-4 calls older believers to teach the younger, not because you're perfect, but because your story matters. Ninth, fast from one thing that's clouding your vision. It could be social media, gossip, or even overthinking. For one day this week, replace that habit with prayer or worship. Isaiah 58:6 promises, "Is not this the fast that I choose, to loose the bonds of wickedness, to undo the straps of the yoke?" Fasting isn't deprivation, it's liberation, clearing the static so you can hear God's voice. These steps are your weapons, chosen one, forging a path to your personal transformation. Let me share another story to ignite your passion. Jamal, a 28-year-old barista from Seattle, dreamed of starting a podcast to share stories of faith in everyday life. He'd record episodes in his closet, but fear of criticism kept them unpublished. What if no one listens? He worried. Then a message like this challenged him to act. He uploaded one episode, shaky but sincere, about finding God in small moments. A friend shared it, then a stranger, then a local church. Today Jamal's podcast reaches thousands, not because he's famous, but because he trusted God with his voice. His small step didn't just launch a platform, it built a community of believers finding hope in the ordinary. What's your unpublished episode, chosen one? What's the dream God's waiting for you to release? Now, let's talk about the power of surrender. Surrender isn't giving up, it's giving over. Handing your plans, your fears, your future to the one who sees the end from the beginning. Isaiah 55:8-9 says, "For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, declares the Lord. As the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways. Your vision for your life is good, but God's is greater." Picture a potter shaping clay, molding it with skilled hands. You're that clay, chosen one, and every moment you surrender, God shapes you into a vessel of honor. Maybe you're clinging to a relationship that's not God's best, a job that's draining your purpose, or a plan that's misaligned with His timing. Let go. Trust the potter's hands. Surrender is your superpower, unlocking doors you could never open on your own. Let's talk about the power of vision. Not just dreams that flicker in your mind, but a God-given blueprint that shapes your future. Proverbs 29:18 declares, "Where there is no vision, the people perish." Without a clear picture of where God's leading you, it's easy to wander, to settle for less than His best. But you, chosen one, are called to see beyond the horizon, to envision a life that reflects God's glory. Picture a ship's captain navigating stormy seas, his eyes fixed on a distant lighthouse. That vision keeps him steady no matter how fierce the waves. Your vision is your lighthouse, guiding you through life's storms. What does God's plan for you look like? Is it a thriving family, a ministry that heals hearts, a career that serves others? Take a moment today to clarify that vision. Write it down. Pray over it. Let it anchor your soul. This isn't daydreaming, it's divine strategy, aligning your steps with God's eternal purpose. Now, let's make this practical again. 10th, create a 30-day action plan for one area of your calling. Break your vision into small daily steps. If God's called you to write, commit to 200 words a day. If it's fitness for His glory, walk 20 minutes daily. If it's building relationships, reach out to one person each week. Ecclesiastes 9:10 urges, "Whatever your hand finds to do it with all your might." This plan isn't a chore. It's a covenant, a promise to steward the purpose God's entrusted to you. 11th, seek out one piece of wisdom from someone who's walked your path. Maybe it's a pastor, a mentor, or even an online resource. Ask, What's one lesson you wish you'd known when you started? Proverbs 15:22 says, "Plans fail for lack of counsel, but with many advisors they succeed." This step isn't dependence. It's diligence, equipping you to run your race with excellence. Let me share a story to spark your courage. Aisha, a 35-year-old nurse from Houston, always felt a pull to advocate for mental health in her community. But long shifts and self-doubt kept her silent. "I'm no expert. Who am I to speak?" One night, a patient's story of struggle broke her heart, and a message like this stirred her to act. She started small, hosting a weekly coffee meetup for co-workers to share their stresses. She sought advice from a counselor friend, learning how to listen without fixing. Those meetups grew into a non-profit support group, now helping dozens navigate anxiety and depression. Aisha's not a therapist, she's a nurse who said yes to God's nudge. Her vision didn't require a degree, it required her heart. What's the nudge you've felt, chosen one? What small step could turn your compassion into a movement? Let's talk about the power of gratitude as a gateway to miracles. Not just saying thank you, but cultivating a heart that sees God's hand in every moment. 1 Thessalonians 5:18 commands, "Give thanks in all circumstances, for this is God's will for you in Christ Jesus." Gratitude isn't ignoring pain. It's choosing to see God's provision in the midst of it. Imagine a desert traveler, parched and weary, who finds a single oasis. Instead of complaining about the sand, he celebrates the water. Your life might have deserts, challenges, losses, delays, but gratitude finds the oases. It shifts your perspective, turning scarcity into abundance, despair into hope. Today, start a gratitude journal. Write down one thing each day that shows God's faithfulness. A kind word, a timely provision, a moment of peace. This isn't just reflection, it's revelation, opening your eyes to the miracles already unfolding in your faith journey. Now, let's address the pull of distraction. The enemy doesn't always attack with disaster. Sometimes he uses busyness, noise, the endless scroll of life to drown out God's voice. Mark 4:19 warns of the cares of the world and the deceitfulness of riches and the desires for other things, choking out God's word. You're not just busy, chosen one. You're at war for your attention. Every moment you give to meaningless tasks or fleeting pleasures is a moment stolen from your divine purpose. Picture a warrior on a battlefield, distracted by a shiny trinket while the enemy advances. Your calling is too critical for such diversions. This week, audit your time. Track how you spend your hours. What's feeding your soul and what's draining it? Replace one distraction with a purposeful act. Swap 30 minutes of TV for prayer or mindless scrolling for reading scripture. This isn't restriction, it's reclamation, taking back ground for your breakthrough. Let's pause here. If this message is setting your spirit ablaze, type, "I am ready to rise" in the comments below. Your declaration is a war cry uniting you with a global remnant of chosen ones stepping into their destiny. And if you feel led to help this message reach others standing at their divine crossroads, consider supporting through Super Thanks. Your seed is a lifeline, carrying hope to hearts ready to awaken. Let's charge forward. This video's unique angle is about harnessing your focus to amplify your divine impact. Not just embracing your role or resting in faith, but wielding your attention like a sword to cut through the clutter of life. Think of Nehemiah rebuilding Jerusalem's walls despite mockery and threats. Nehemiah 6:3 records his resolve. "I am doing a great work and I cannot come down." He didn't let distractions derail his mission. You're Nehemiah today, chosen one, rebuilding the walls of your purpose, family, ministry, legacy. Every time you say no to distraction, you're laying another stone in that wall. What's the great work God's called you to? Protect it fiercely, because your focus isn't just time, it's power. Now let's talk about the power of legacy. Your life isn't just about today. It's about the seeds you plant for tomorrow. Psalm 78:4 says, "We will tell the next generation the praiseworthy deeds of the Lord." Your story, your faith, your victories are a treasure you pass down, not just to your children, but to anyone who crosses your path. Imagine a mighty tree, its roots deep, its branches sheltering generations. Your choices today are the roots, anchoring a legacy that will stand long after you're gone. Maybe you're teaching a child to pray, mentoring a young believer, or simply living with integrity in a world that's watching. Every act of faith is a branch, offering shade to those who come after you. This week, ask yourself, what legacy am I building? Write down one way you want to be remembered. A value, a lesson, a gift to the future. This isn't pride, it's purpose, ensuring your life echoes in eternity. Let's get practical again. 12th, share your faith with one person this week. It doesn't have to be a sermon. Maybe it's telling a coworker how God answered a prayer, or inviting a friend to church. 1 Peter 3:15 urges, always be prepared to give an answer to everyone who asks you to give the reason for the hope that you have. Your story is a seed planting hope in someone's heart. 13th, invest in your spiritual growth. Commit to reading one chapter of the Bible daily for a month, starting with the Gospel of John. Pair it with a question: what's God saying to me today? This isn't ritual, it's relationship, deepening your connection to the one who called you. These steps are your tools, chosen one, building a life that radiates God's glory. Let me share a story to inspire your soul. Elena, a 42-year-old florist from Miami, felt a call to bring beauty to her struggling neighborhood. She'd pray, "Lord, use me," but felt her job arranging flowers was too small to matter. Then, a message like this challenged her to see her work as worship. She started donating floral arrangements to local shelters, each bouquet carrying a note of encouragement. She shared her faith with a shelter manager, sparking a partnership. Now Elena's flowers grace community events, lifting spirits and spreading hope. Her small gift didn't just decorate rooms, it transformed hearts. What's the gift you've underestimated, chosen one? How could God use it to paint the world with His love? Now, let's talk about the power of alignment. Your breakthrough isn't just about effort, it's about positioning yourself under God's will. Amos 3:3 asks, "Do two walk together unless they have agreed to do so?" Walking with God means aligning your desires, decisions, and direction with His. Picture a dancer moving in perfect sync with her partner, every step fluid, every turn effortless. That's you with God, chosen one, when you align your heart with His. Maybe you're chasing a goal that looks good but feels off. Ask God, is this your path? Maybe you're holding onto habits that clash with your calling. Surrender them. This week, pray for discernment. Lord, show me where I'm out of step. Alignment isn't sacrifice, it's harmony, unlocking a flow of favor that effort alone can't produce. Imagine a sunrise bursting over a jagged mountain range, its golden rays piercing the shadows, awakening a sleeping valley below. That's you, chosen one. A dawn of God's glory, rising to dispel darkness and breathe life into barren places. Your spiritual awakening isn't a quiet whisper, it's a trumpet blast, heralding a new season of victory, impact, and unyielding faith. Right now, the heavens are thundering, the earth is trembling, and the Creator is summoning you to shine with a brilliance that no storm can dim. This is your hour to ascend, to radiate, to become a living testament to God's power. Don't shrink back, rise and illuminate the world. Let's talk about the power of stewardship. Everything you have, your time, talents, resources, is a sacred trust from God. A seed He's planted in your hands to multiply for His kingdom. Matthew 25:21 says, "Well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful with a few things. I will put you in charge of many things." Your faithfulness in small moments prepares you for greater ones, chosen one. Picture a gardener entrusted with a single plot of land. She doesn't wait for a vast estate. She tills, plants, and nurtures what's before her, trusting it will grow. Your life is that plot, and every choice to steward it well is a seed of destiny. Are you managing your time to honor God's call? Are you using your gifts to serve others? Today, identify one area where you can be a better steward. Maybe it's budgeting to fund a dream, scheduling prayer, or volunteering your skills. This isn't duty, it's destiny, cultivating a harvest that will overflow into eternity. Now, let's make this practical again. 14th, launch a gratitude challenge with a friend or family member. For the next 14 days, text each other one thing daily that you're thankful for, tying it to God's faithfulness. Philippians 4:8 urges, "Whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, think about such things." This challenge isn't just positivity, it's a spiritual discipline, training your mind to see God's hand in every season. 15th, create a faith milestone journal. Write down one moment this week where you saw God move. An answered prayer, a timely word, a door opened. Psalm 77:11 says, "I will remember the deeds of the Lord." This journal isn't nostalgia, it's ammunition, reminding you of God's power when doubt creeps in. These steps are your tools, chosen one, forging a life that magnifies God's glory with every breath. Let me share a story to fuel your fire. Javier, a 29-year-old construction worker from Dallas, felt a stirring to mentor young men in his neighborhood, many caught in cycles of violence. He doubted his impact. "I'm no preacher, just a guy with a hard hat." But a message like this sparked a shift. He started small, inviting 2 teens to a Saturday basketball game, sharing stories of how faith kept him grounded. He stewarded his time, setting aside one evening a week to listen and pray with them. Those 2 became 6, then a dozen. Today, Javier's mentorship group partners with a local church, guiding teens toward jobs and hope. His hard hat became a crown of influence, not because he was perfect, but because he was faithful. What's the small plot God's given you, chosen one? How can you nurture it into a movement? Let's talk about the power of resilience. Life will test you. Rejection, setbacks, moments when the path feels impossibly steep. But Romans 5:3-4 declares, "We glory in our sufferings because we know that suffering produces perseverance, perseverance character, and character hope." Resilience isn't just surviving, it's thriving through the storm, letting each trial forge you into a warrior of faith. Picture a bamboo stalk bending in a fierce wind, but never breaking, its roots deep, its strength flexible. That's you, chosen one, rooted in God's promises, bending but never defeated. Maybe you're facing a health challenge, a financial crunch, or a dream deferred. Don't let the wind break you, let it strengthen you. This week, reflect on a past trial that made you stronger. How did God use it to shape you? This isn't dwelling on pain, it's claiming victory, turning scars into stars that light your path to breakthrough. Now, let's address the lure of instant gratification. The world tempts you with quick wins, likes, trends, shortcuts that promise success without sacrifice. But God's plan unfolds in His timing, not yours. Ecclesiastes 3:1 says, "There is a time for everything and a season for every activity under the heavens." Your divine purpose isn't a microwave meal, it's a slow-cooked feast, rich with flavor worth the wait. Picture a vintner crafting fine wine, patiently tending the vines. knowing the harvest takes time. Your life is that vineyard, chosen one, and every season of waiting is ripening your fruit. Resist the urge to rush God's process. Instead, embrace the rhythm of His seasons, planting, pruning, harvesting. Today, ask yourself, am I chasing quick results, or am I trusting God's perfect timing? This isn't delay, it's development, preparing you for a harvest that endures. Let's pause here. If this message is setting your soul ablaze, type "I am ready to rise" in the comments below. Your declaration is a battle cry, linking you with thousands of chosen ones stepping into their divine destiny. And if you feel led to help this message reach others standing at their sacred threshold, consider supporting through super thanks. Your seed is a spark, igniting hope in hearts ready to awaken. Let's surge forward. This video's unique angle is about embracing God's timing as a sacred rhythm, not just focusing your attention or building a legacy, but dancing to the divine tempo of seasons that shape your personal transformation. Think of Hannah, barren and mocked, praying year after year for a child. 1 Samuel 1:20 says, "In the course of time, Hannah became pregnant and gave birth to Samuel." Her waiting wasn't wasted, it was worship, aligning her with God's perfect plan. You're Hannah today, chosen one, in a season that feels slow but is pregnant with promise. Every prayer, every step, is tuning you to God's rhythm. Always the season you're in, embrace it, because your Samuel, your breakthrough, is coming. Now, let's talk about the power of authenticity. The world craves facades, perfect images, polished lives, but God calls you to be real, raw, and rooted in truth. 2 Corinthians 12:9 says, "My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness." Your authenticity, your struggles, your doubts, your victories, is a magnet for God's grace, drawing others to His love. Picture a cracked clay pot, its flaws letting light shine through. That's you, chosen one, not hiding your cracks, but letting God's light pour out through them. Maybe you're hesitant to share your faith because you feel flawed, or to pursue a dream because you're not ready. Your imperfection isn't a flaw, it's a feature, a testimony that God uses the broken to build His kingdom. This week, share one authentic moment with someone, a struggle you've faced, a lesson you've learned. This isn't vulnerability, it's victory, showing the world that God's strength shines through your humanity. Let's get practical again. 16th, host a vision night with 1 or 2 trusted friends. Share your God-given dreams and pray over each other's callings. James 5:16 says, "The prayer of a righteous person is powerful and effective." This night isn't just planning, it's prophetic, activating your collective faith to move mountains. 17th, declutter one area of your life to make room for God's purpose. Maybe it's your schedule, clearing an hour for prayer, or your space, donating items that no longer serve you. Luke 3:4 calls us to prepare the way for the Lord. This decluttering isn't minimalism, it's ministry, creating space for God to move. These steps are your keys, chosen one, unlocking doors to a life that radiates God's glory. Let me share a story to inspire your heart. May, a 50-year-old teacher from San Francisco, felt a call to support foster children, but doubted her influence. "I'm just a school teacher with no extra cash." A message like this stirred her to act authentically. She started a book drive at her school, asking colleagues to donate children's books for foster homes. She shared her own story of growing up with little, connecting with parents and kids. That drive grew into a citywide initiative, now supplying books to hundreds of foster children. May's not rich or famous, she's real, and her authenticity turned a small idea into a wave of hope. What's the authentic gift you've held back, chosen one? How could God use your truth to touch lives? Now, let's talk about the power of intercession. Your prayers aren't just for you. They're a lifeline for others, a spiritual force that shifts atmospheres. 1 Timothy 2:1 urges, I urge that requests, prayers, intercession, and thanksgiving be made for all people. Intercession is your priestly calling, chosen one, standing in the gap for those who can't stand for themselves. Picture a watchman on a city wall, praying through the night to protect the sleeping. That's you, lifting up your family, your community, your world. Maybe you're praying for a nation's healing, a friend's salvation, or a stranger's peace. Your prayers are arrows, piercing the darkness, releasing God's power. This week, dedicate 5 minutes daily to intercede for someone specific. Write their name, pray their breakthrough, trust God's move. This isn't routine, it's warfare, reshaping destinies through the power of your voice. Through that radiant door with the heart of a conqueror, because you were destined to storm the gates of impossibility and plant the flag of God's victory on every battlefield of your life. Imagine a mighty waterfall cascading from a towering cliff, its waters unstoppable, carving new paths through ancient rock. That's you, chosen one, a divine force, surging with purpose, reshaping the terrain of despair into a landscape of hope and triumph. Your spiritual awakening isn't a gentle breeze, it's a gale force wind, sweeping away doubt and igniting a fire that will blaze through generations. Right now, the heavens are parting, the chains are breaking, and the Creator is commanding you to charge forward with a courage that shakes the earth. This is your moment to conquer, to claim, to become a living monument to God's unshakable promises. Don't falter. Unleash your roar and seize your destiny. Let's talk about the power of boldness, not the brashness of pride, but the audacity to act on God's call when fear screams to stay silent. Acts 4:31 says they were all filled with the Holy Spirit and spoke the word of God boldly. Boldness is your birthright, chosen one, a divine spark that turns whispers of faith into shouts of victory. Picture a lone climber scaling a sheer cliff, each grip a defiance of gravity, each step a testament to trust. That's you, defying the gravity of doubt, climbing toward your divine purpose. Are you speaking up for what's right? Are you launching that dream despite the risks? Today, identify one bold move God's nudging you toward. Maybe it's confronting an injustice, pitching an idea, or proclaiming your faith in a skeptical room. This isn't recklessness, it's righteousness, staking your claim on the promises God has spoken over you. Now let's make this practical again. 22nd, create a faith trigger to spark boldness daily. Choose a physical reminder, a bracelet, a sticky note, a keychain, and let it prompt you to act courageously. For example, every time you see it, pray, Lord, give me boldness today, and take one small step, like encouraging a stranger or tackling a task you've avoided. 2 Timothy 1:7 reminds us, God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power. This trigger isn't superstition, it's strategy, anchoring your courage in God's strength. 23rd, commit to learning one new perspective this week. Read a book, watch a talk, or ask someone from a different background about their faith journey. Proverbs 27:17 says, as iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another. This learning isn't curiosity, it's growth, expanding your vision for God's plan. These steps are your battle gore, chosen one, equipping you to charge toward your breakthrough. Let me share a story to fuel your boldness. Naomi, a 45-year-old librarian from Denver, felt a call to start a community storytelling event to share God's hope, but hesitated. I'm shy, no one will come. A message like this stirred her to act. She booked a small room at her library, nervously inviting 5 neighbors to share stories of faith. She wore a simple cross necklace as her faith trigger, touching it for courage. That night, 20 people showed up, their stories weaving a tapestry of God's grace. Naomi's events now draw dozens monthly, healing hearts through shared truth. She's not a performer, she's a woman who chose boldness over fear. What's the bold step God's calling you to? What could your courage unleash? Let's talk about the power of adaptability. Life's twists, unexpected losses, new opportunities, sudden shifts aren't roadblocks, they're invitations to trust God's creativity. Romans 8:28 promises, "In all things God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose." Adaptability is your agility, chosen one, pivoting with faith to meet God's plan in every season. Picture a dancer adjusting her steps to a changing beat, her movements fluid, her grace unbroken. That's you, flowing with God's rhythm, turning surprises into divine setups. Maybe a closed door forced a career change, or a challenge shifted your plans. Are you resisting or adapting? This week, reflect on one unexpected change. How is God redirecting me? Embrace it with a prayer. Lord, show me your path in this shift. This isn't surrender. It's strategy, aligning with God's master plan for your personal transformation. Now let's address the myth of perfectionism. The enemy whispers that you must be flawless to fulfill your calling, but God doesn't use perfect vessels. He uses willing ones. 1 Corinthians 4:7 says, "We have this treasure in jars of clay to show that this all power surpasses power is from God and not from us." Your imperfections are God's canvas, chosen one, displaying his glory through your crack. Picture a mosaic. Its beauty not in uniform tiles, but in their unique arrangement. That's your life. Every flaw, every stumble, a piece in God's artwork. Are you delaying your dream because you're not ready? Maybe it's a ministry, a project, or a relationship. Perfectionism stalls, willingness to do propels. This week, start one task imperfectly. Send that draft, try that skill, extend that olive branch. This isn't settling, it's soaring, trusting God's power to perfect your efforts. Let's get practical again. 24th, create a joy ritual to recharge your spirit weekly. Choose one activity that sparks delight, cooking a favorite meal, hiking or playing music, and dedicate an hour to it, praising God for his goodness. Nehemiah 8:10 declares, "The joy of the Lord is your strength." This ritual isn't indulgence, it's empowerment, refueling your soul for the journey. 25th, map out a connection web. Write down 5 people who inspire your faith, friends, mentors, leaders, and reach out to one this week to share a goal or pray together. Ecclesiastes 4:9 says, "Two are better than one because they have a good return for their labor." This web isn't networking, it's kingdom building, weaving strength into your faith journey. These steps are your wings, chosen one, lifting you toward your divine destiny. Let me share a story to ignite your heart. Leo, a 31-year-old delivery driver from Phoenix, felt a call to support veterans but doubted his impact. "I'm no counselor, what can I do?" A message like this inspired him to adapt. He started a weekly coffee and stories meetup at a local diner, inviting veterans to share their experiences. He embraced his imperfections, admitting he was learning, and created a joy ritual of grilling burgers for the group, praising God for community. Those meetups grew into a support network, now helping veterans find jobs and counseling. Leo's not a hero. He's a driver who adapted his passion into purpose. What's the pivot God's asking of you? How could your willingness change lives? Let's talk about the power of discernment. not just gut feelings, but a spirit-led ability to distinguish God's voice from the noise. John 10:27 says, "My sheep listen to my voice, I know them, and they follow me." Discernment is your compass, chosen one, guiding you through life's fog to God's perfect will. Picture a sailor navigating by the stars, his course steady despite churning waves. That's you, tuned to the Holy Spirit, choosing paths that align with your divine purpose. Are you seeking God's guidance in decisions, big or small? Maybe it's a job offer, a relationship, or a dream. This week, practice discernment. Before deciding, pray, "Lord, show me your truth," and wait for His peace. This isn't hesitation, it's holy navigation, ensuring every step advances your breakthrough. Let's pause here. If this message is setting your spirit ablaze, type, "I am ready to rise" in the comments below. Your declaration is a war cry, uniting you with thousands of chosen ones charging toward their destiny. And if you feel led to help this message reach others standing at their divine threshold, consider supporting through super thanks. Your seed is a lighthouse, guiding hearts to hope. Let's surge forward. This video's unique angle is about wielding discernment as a divine weapon. Not just expecting miracles or forgiving others, but navigating life with spirit-led precision to fulfill your calling. Think of Daniel interpreting Nebuchadnezzar's dream. Daniel 2:27 can explain to the king the mystery, but there is a God in heaven who reveals mysteries. Daniel's discernment didn't just save his life, it shifted a kingdom. You're Daniel today, chosen one, equipped to hear God's voice in a noisy world. Every time you choose discernment, you're unlocking divine strategies for your faith journey. What decision needs God's clarity? Seek it and watch His plan unfold. Now let's talk about the power of celebration, not just for personal wins, but for God's work in others. Philippians 2:4 urges, "Let each of you look not only to his own interests, but also to the interests of others." Celebrating others' victories is your strength, chosen one, fostering unity and multiplying joy. Picture a stadium erupting as one runner crosses the finish line, lifting the whole team. That's you, cheering a friend's promotion, a stranger's testimony, or a child's faith. This week, reach out to someone who's achieved something, big or small, and celebrate them with a heartfelt message. This isn't flattery, it's fellowship, building a kingdom where every victory counts. Let's get practical again. 26th, start a prayer wall in your home. Pin up requests, yours and others, and pray over one daily. Colossians 4:2 says, "Devote yourselves to prayer, being watchful and thankful." This wall isn't decor, it's a spiritual stronghold, amplifying your intercession. 27th, commit to one act of silence this week. Spend 10 minutes in quiet, listening for God's voice, free from distractions. Psalm 46:10 says, "Be still and know that I am God." This silence isn't emptiness, it's encounter, opening your heart to divine whispers. These steps are your armor, chosen one, fortifying you for your divine destiny. Let me share a story to spark your zeal. Priya, a 40-year-old accountant from Atlanta, felt a call to foster unity in her diverse workplace, but feared overstepping. A message like this inspired her to celebrate others. She started a kudos board at work, where colleagues posted praise for each other's efforts. She prayed daily over the board, asking God to knit hearts together. That board sparked friendships, eased tensions, and even led to a company-wide inclusivity program. Priya's not a manager, she's a woman who celebrated God's work in others. What's the victory you can cheer, chosen one? How could it shift your world? Now, let's talk about the power of humility. Not self-deprecation, but a posture of awe before God's greatness. James 4:10 says, "Humble yourselves before the Lord, and he will lift you up." Humility is your elevation, chosen one, grounding you in God's strength rather than your own. Picture a mighty oak, its roots deep, unshaken by storms because it bows to the earth. That's you, secure in God's power, not striving for applause. Maybe you're tempted to prove yourself or chase recognition. Humility says, God's approval is enough. This week, do one act in secret. Help someone anonymously. Pray without telling. Serve without seeking credit. This isn't hiding, it's holy, positioning you for God's lift. Imagine a supernova erupting in the cosmos, its radiant shockwaves scattering stars and birthing new galaxies in its wake. That's you, chosen one. A divine explosion of faith, crafted to obliterate despair and create realms of hope where none existed. Your spiritual awakening isn't a flicker, it's a celestial detonation, reverberating through the heavens and shaking the foundations of doubt. Right now, the skies are ablaze, the angels are chanting, and the Creator is commanding you to erupt with a purpose that will redefine reality itself. This is your moment to explode, to radiate, to become a cosmic force for God's glory. Don't restrain your fire. Unleash it and transform the universe. Let's talk about the power of sacrifice. Not loss, but the holy act of offering your best to God, trusting Him to multiply it beyond imagination. John 12:24 declares, "Unless a kernel of wheat falls to the ground and dies, it remains only a single seed. But if it dies, it produces many seed." Sacrifice is your seed, chosen one, planted in faith to yield a harvest of eternal impact. Picture a farmer sowing his finest grain, knowing the soil will transform it into abundance. Your life is that field. Every surrendered comfort, every relinquished fear, every costly choice is a seed for God's kingdom. Are you giving God your first fruits, your time, your resources, your dreams? Today, choose one sacrifice. Skip a luxury to fund a cause. Give up an hour of leisure to serve, or release a grudge that's weighing you down. This isn't deprivation, it's divine investment, sowing into a future that will bear fruit for generations. Now, let's make this practical again. 28th, start a vision fast this week. For one day, abstain from a distraction, social media, entertainment, or even food if you're able, and spend that time praying for clarity on your calling. Isaiah 58:8 promises, "Then your light will break forth like the dawn, and your healing will quickly appear." This fast isn't punishment, it's purification, sharpening your focus on God's plan. 29th, create a legacy letter for someone you love. Write how your faith has shaped you and what you pray for their future, to be shared now or later. Psalm 145:4 says, "One generation commends your works to another." This letter isn't sentiment, it's a spiritual inheritance, passing your faith to the next. These steps are your torches, chosen one, lighting the way to your divine destiny. Let me share a story to kindle your zeal. Omar, a 36-year-old mechanic from Memphis, felt a call to help single parents with car repairs, but struggled with time and money. "I can't afford to give stuff away," he thought. A message like this inspired him to sacrifice. He offered free oil changes one Saturday a month, trusting God to provide. He fasted from weekend gaming to pray for those he served. One client, a struggling mum, shared his story online and donations poured in. Omar's garage now fixes cars for dozens of families, funded by community support. He's not wealthy. He's a man who sowed his best and reaped a harvest. What's the sacrifice God's asking of you? What could your offering unleash? Let's talk about the power of worship. Not just singing, but a lifestyle of exalting God in every thought, word, and deed. Colossians 3:17 says, "Whatever you do, whether in word or deed, do it all in the name of the Lord Jesus, giving thanks to God the Father through him." Worship is your weapon, chosen one, transforming the mundane into the miraculous and aligning your heart with heaven's frequency. Picture a symphony conductor, every gesture drawing harmony from chaos. That's you, conducting your life as an anthem to God's glory, whether you're working, parenting, or dreaming. Are you honoring God in the small moments? This week, turn one daily task, cooking, commuting, cleaning, into worship by praying or praising as you do it. This isn't ritual, it's revolution, infusing your life with divine purpose. Now let's address the pull of complacency. The enemy doesn't always tempt with sin. Sometimes he lulls you into settling, whispering, "You've done enough." But Philippians 3:13-14 urges, "Forgetting what is behind and straining toward what is ahead, I press on toward the goal to win the prize." Complacency is your cage, chosen one, disguised as comfort, keeping you from the prize God's prepared. Picture a runner slowing before the finish line, robbed of victory by ease. Your calling demands you press on, through fatigue, through success, through familiarity. This week, identify one area where you've grown comfortable: a stagnant prayer life, a neglected dream, a routine faith. Shake it up. Pray differently. Revive that vision. Step out. This isn't restlessness. It's revival, propelling you toward your breakthrough. Let's get practical again. 30th, start a gratitude walk this week. Take a 15-minute walk, naming aloud everything you're thankful for. God's provision, creation, opportunities. 1 Chronicles 16:34 says, "Give thanks to the Lord, for he is good. His love endures forever." This walk isn't exercise, it's exaltation, tuning your heart to God's goodness. 31st, mentor one person in a practical skill you've mastered: cooking, budgeting, or a work task. Titus 2:7 urges, "In everything set them an example by doing what is good." This mentoring isn't teaching, it's testimony, showing God's wisdom through your life. These steps are your banners, chosen one, waving high in your faith journey. Let me share a story to spark your passion. Lila, a 52-year-old seamstress from Orlando, felt a call to clothe the needy, but felt stuck in her small workshop. "My skills aren't special," she said. A message like this stirred her to worship through her craft. She began sewing blankets for a local orphanage, praying over each stitch. She fought complacency by donating one blanket weekly despite tight finances. A church noticed, partnering with her to distribute hundreds. Lila's not a charity leader. She's a seamstress whose worship became a ministry. What's the skill God's asking you to offer? How could your worship change lives? Let's talk about the power of vision casting, not just for yourself, but for others to join your divine purpose. Habakkuk 2:3 says, "The revelation awaits an appointed time. It speaks of the end and will not prove false." Vision casting is your rallying cry, chosen one, inviting others to run alongside you toward God's plan. Picture a general inspiring his troops, painting a vivid picture of victory. That's you, sharing your God-given dream to ignite faith in others, your family, your team, your community. Are you articulating your calling clearly? This week, share your vision with one person. God's called me to. Will you pray with me? This isn't boasting, it's building, creating a tribe to amplify your impact. Let's pause here. If this message is setting your soul ablaze, type "I am ready to rise" in the comments below. Your declaration is a war cry, uniting you with thousands of chosen ones, charging toward their destiny. And if you feel led to help this message reach others standing at their divine threshold, consider supporting through Super Thanks. Your seed is a clarion call, awakening hearts to hope. Let's surge forward. This video's unique angle is about casting a vision that rallies others, not just discerning God's voice or living humbly, but inspiring a movement around your divine purpose. Think of Moses standing before Israel, proclaiming God's promise of a land flowing with milk and honey. Exodus 3:17 records his vision, "I have promised to bring you up out of your misery." Moses didn't just see freedom, he shared it, rallying a nation. You're Moses today, chosen one, called to paint a picture that draws others into God's plan. Every time you share your vision, you're building a bridge for others to cross. Who needs to hear your dream? Speak it, and watch God move. Now let's talk about the power of resilience. Not just enduring, but rebounding, stronger with every blow. Job 42:10 says, "After Job had prayed for his friends, the Lord restored his fortunes and gave him twice as much as he had before." Resilience is your rebound, chosen one, turning trials into testimonies and losses into launches. Picture a boxer rising after a knockdown, eyes fierce, ready to fight. That's you, rising from setbacks, rejection, failure, grief, with a faith that refuses to stay down. Are you letting trials define you or refine you? This week, revisit one past setback. What did God teach me here? Thank Him for the lesson and declare, "I'm stronger now." This isn't denial, it's dominion, claiming victory over every defeat. Let's get practical again. 30-second, create a faith playlist of 5 songs that stir your spirit. Worship, gospel, or inspirational. Play it daily to lift your mood and focus. Psalm 96:1 urges, "Sing to the Lord a new song." This playlist isn't entertainment, it's empowerment, fueling your faith. 33rd, commit to one act of advocacy this week. Speak up for someone voiceless. A co-worker, a cause, a community need. Isaiah 1:17 says, "Seek justice, encourage the oppressed." This advocacy isn't activism, it's alignment, reflecting God's heart. These steps are your swords, chosen one, slashing through obstacles to your breakthrough. Let me share a story to ignite your resilience. Amara, a 34-year-old chef from New Orleans, dreamed of opening a soup kitchen but faced setback after setback. Funding fell through, permits were denied. Maybe it's not meant to be, she thought. A message like this rekindled her fire. She revisited her rejections, thanking God for teaching her patience, and started small, cooking free meals for neighbors. Her resilience caught a local charity's eye, and they funded her kitchen. Amara's now feeding hundreds weekly, not because she avoided pain, but because she rose through it. What's the setback God's turning into your setup? How could your resilience change the game? Imagine a comet blazing through the night sky, its fiery tail painting a path of awe and wonder, commanding the universe to take notice. That's you, chosen one, a celestial herald, anointed to streak across the heavens of human despair, leaving trails of hope, courage, and divine purpose in your wake. Your spiritual awakening isn't a quiet dawn. It's a cosmic eruption, splitting the darkness and proclaiming a new era of victory. Right now, the stars are aligning, the principalities are trembling, and the Creator Himself is urging you to blaze with a ferocity that will reshape destinies. This is your moment to surge, to dazzle, to become a divine spectacle of God's glory. Don't hold back. Ignite the skies and soar. Let's talk about the power of intentionality. Not just living, but choosing each moment with purpose, aligning every action with the heartbeat of God's plan. Colossians 3:23 declares, "Whatever you do, work at it with all your heart, as working for the Lord, not for human masters." Intentionality is your compass, chosen one, steering you through life's chaos to the exact coordinates of your divine calling. Picture a master sculptor chiseling marble, each strike deliberate, every cut a step toward a masterpiece. That's you, carving your life with purpose. Every word, every decision, every moment shaped for eternity. Are you living reactively or intentionally? Today, choose one daily habit to infuse with purpose. Make your morning coffee a prayer. Turn your commute into worship, or approach a task with excellence for God's glory. This isn't routine, it's reverence, crafting a life that radiates your divine purpose. Now, let's make this practical again. 34th, start a purpose journal to track your intentional choices. Each evening, write one action you took today to align with God's call. Maybe you spoke kindly under pressure or pursued a dream step. Psalm 119:105 says, "Your word is a lamp for my feet, a light on my path." This journal isn't a diary, it's a divine roadmap, illuminating your progress toward breakthrough. 35th. Commit to one act of encouragement this week. Write a note, send a text, or speak life to someone struggling, affirming God's plan for them. Hebrews 3:13 urges, "Encourage one another daily." This encouragement isn't flattery, it's fortification, building others up for God's kingdom. These steps are your anchors, grounding you in a life of eternal impact. Let me share a story to spark your drive. Keyshawn, a 27-year-old barista from Seattle, felt a call to inspire his co-workers, but was stuck in a cycle of going through daily motions. "I'm just pouring coffee," he thought. A message like this ignited his intentionality. He started greeting each customer with a prayerful smile, asking God to bless their day. He encouraged a struggling co-worker with a note, "You're making a difference, keep going." That small act led to deeper talks, and Keyshawn now leads a weekly prayer huddle at his cafe. His coffee isn't just a drink, it's a conduit for God's love. He's not a preacher, he's a barista who chose purpose over routine. What's the moment you can live intentionally today? How could your choices shift your world? Let's talk about the power of vision endurance, not just seeing a dream, but sustaining it through seasons of silence and struggle. Isaiah 55:11 promises, "So is my word that goes out from my mouth. It will not return to me empty-handed." God's vision for you is unbreakable, chosen one, but it requires your steadfast gaze to bring it to fruition. Picture a marathon runner, legs burning, yet eyes locked on the distant finish line, refusing to waver. That's you, holding fast to God's promise, despite delays or detours. Whether it's a ministry, a family restored, or a legacy built, are you nurturing your dream daily, or letting it fade? This week, create a vision anchor by memorizing one scripture tied to your calling. Like Jeremiah 33:3, "Call to me and I will answer you and tell you great things." Recite it when doubt creeps in. This isn't repetition, it's reinforcement, keeping your dream alive through faith. Now let's address the seduction of comparison. Not just envying others' success, but measuring your journey by their milestones. Galatians 6:4 says, "Each one should test their own actions. Then they can take pride in themselves alone, without comparing themselves to someone else." Comparison is your blindfold, chosen one, obscuring the unique path God's carved for you. Picture a painter obsessing over another's canvas, neglecting her own masterpiece. That's what comparison does. Steals your focus from your divine artwork. Are you eyeing someone else's platform, family, or breakthrough? This week, celebrate one unique aspect of your journey, your story, your gifts, your calling. Declare, God made me for this. This isn't arrogance, it's acceptance, embracing your singular role in God's plan. Let's get practical again. 36th, start a focus hour this week. Dedicate 1 hour daily to your calling, writing, planning, praying, free from distractions. Mark 1:35 says, very early in the morning, while it was still dark, Jesus got up and prayed. This hour isn't busyness, it's sacred, prioritizing God's purpose. 37th, commit to one act of learning through failure. Try something new, a skill, a conversation, a step, and if it flops, write down one lesson learned. Proverbs 24:16 says, though the righteous fall 7 times, they rise again. This act isn't defeat, it's discovery, turning stumbles into stepping stones. These steps are your wings, chosen one, lifting you toward your personal transformation. Let me share a story to fuel your endurance. Annika, a 41-year-old nurse from Miami, dreamed of starting a health clinic for low-income families but faced years of red tape and rejections. Maybe I'm chasing the wrong dream, she thought. A message like this rekindled her vision. She memorized Psalm 37:4. Take delight in the Lord, and he will give you the desires of your heart, and refused to compare her slow progress to others' quick wins. She focused 1 hour daily on grant applications, learning from each denial. Last month, a foundation funded her clinic, now serving dozens. Annika's not a mogul. She's a nurse who endured. What's the dream God's asking you to sustain? How could your focus change the game? Let's talk about the power of surrender. Not giving up, but releasing control to God's sovereign hand. Proverbs 3:5-6 says, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to him, and he will make your paths straight. Surrender is your freedom, chosen one, exchanging your limited plans for God's infinite wisdom. Picture a river yielding to the current, flowing effortlessly to its destination. That's you, trusting God's direction over your own. Are you clinging to outcomes? How your dream should look, when it should happen? This week, pray one surrender prayer. Lord, I release specific plan to your will. This isn't passivity, it's partnership, aligning with God's perfect design for your breakthrough. Let's pause here. If this message is setting your spirit ablaze, type, I am ready to rise in the comments below. Your declaration is a battle cry, uniting you with thousands of chosen ones charging toward their destiny. And if you feel led to help this message reach others standing at their divine threshold, consider supporting through super thanks. Your seed is a thunderclap, awakening hearts to hope. Let's surge forward. This video's unique angle is about surrendering to God's blueprint, not just enduring vision or celebrating others, but trusting his design over your own to fulfill your divine purpose. Think of Abraham called to sacrifice Isaac. Genesis 22:12 records God's response. Now I know that you fear God, because you have not withheld your son. Abraham's surrender didn't end in loss. It unlocked a legacy. You're Abraham today, chosen one, called to trust God's plan beyond what you see. Every time you surrender, you're building an altar for miracles. What's God asking you to release? Trust him and watch his promise unfold. Now, let's talk about the power of legacy. Not just what you leave behind, but the living impact you create daily. Psalm 112:2 says, their children will be mighty in the land. The generation of the upright will be blessed. Your legacy is your ripple, chosen one, spreading God's love through every interaction, every choice. Picture a pebble dropped in a still pond, its waves reaching far shores. That's your life. Every kind act, every faithful step sending ripples into eternity. Are you living with legacy in mind? This week, perform one intentional act for future generations. Teach a child a skill, share your testimony, or pray for your descendants. This isn't distant, it's dynamic, shaping tomorrow through your faith today. Let's get practical again. 38th, start a hope board on your wall or digitally. Pin images or words of what you're believing God for. A healed family, a thriving ministry, a bold step. Lamentations 3:21 says, "This I call to mind, and therefore I have hope." This board isn't decor, it's declaration, keeping your faith visible. 39th, commit to one act of reconciliation this week. Reach out to someone estranged, a friend, a relative, and offer peace, even if it's just a message. Matthew 5:24 urges, "First go and be reconciled to them." This act isn't compromise, it's courage, healing wounds for God's glory. These steps are your pillars, chosen one, upholding your divine destiny. Let me share a story to ignite your legacy. Jamal, a 39-year-old teacher from Chicago, felt a call to empower students, but felt limited by his classroom. "I'm just one person," he thought. A message like this inspired him to live with legacy. He started a Hope Club after school, teaching kids to set goals and pray. He reconciled with a former student he'd clashed with, inviting him to join. That club now mentors dozens, with graduates returning to lead. Jamal's not a principal, he's a teacher whose ripples are changing lives. What's the legacy God's asking you to build? How could your actions shape the future? Let's talk about the power of alignment, not just with God's will, but with His character. Micah 6:8 says, "What does the Lord require of you? To act justly, and to love mercy, and to walk humbly with your God." Alignment is your harmony, chosen one, reflecting God's justice, mercy, and humility in every sphere of life. Picture a choir singing in perfect pitch, each voice distinct yet unified. That's you, living in sync with God's heart, whether at work, home, or in your dreams. Are you embodying His character? This week, choose one trait, justice, mercy, or humility, and live it out. Stand for fairness, show kindness, or serve quietly. This isn't performance, it's praise, mirroring God's nature in your faith journey. Imagine a volcanic eruption, its molten fury reshaping the earth, forging new landscapes from raw power. That's you, chosen one. A seismic surge of God's anointing, destined to break through the crust of despair and birth realms of possibility. Your spiritual awakening isn't a spark. It's a cataclysm, a holy upheaval that will redefine lives and echo through eternity. Right now, the heavens are quaking, the enemy is retreating, and the Creator is calling you to unleash a torrent of His glory that will flood the world. This is your hour to erupt, to dominate, to become a divine catalyst for transformation. Don't hesitate, surge forward and remake the future. Let's talk about the power of conviction. Not fleeting enthusiasm, but a deep-rooted certainty that God's promises are your reality. Romans 4:21 says of Abraham, he was fully persuaded that God had power to do what He had promised. Conviction is your bedrock, chosen one, anchoring you in God's truth when storms rage and doubts howl. Picture a lighthouse standing firm against crashing waves, its beam unwavering, guiding ships to safety. That's your faith, unshaken by circumstances, radiating certainty in God's plan. Are you fully persuaded of your calling? This week, affirm one promise God's given you. Maybe a dream, a healing, or a purpose. Write it down, declare it daily. I am convinced God will fulfill promise. This isn't hype, it's holy assurance, grounding your faith journey in unshakable truth. Now, let's make this practical again. 40. Start a faith confession practice. Each morning speak 3 truths about your identity in Christ, like, I am chosen, I am Peter 2:9, I am victorious, 1 Corinthians 15:57, or I am led by the Spirit, Romans 8:14. Psalm 19:14 says, May these words of my mouth be pleasing in your sight. This confession isn't repetition, it's reinforcement, shaping your reality with God's word. 46. Commit to 1 act of stewardship over creation this week. Plant a tree, reduce waste, or care for a shared space. Genesis 2:15 says, The Lord God took the man and put him in the Garden of Eden to work it and take care of it. This act isn't environmentalism, it's worship, honoring God's handiwork. These steps are your stronghold, Fortune 1, fortifying your path to breakthrough. Let me share a story to fuel your conviction. Zara, a 30-year-old hairdresser from Houston, felt a call to uplift her clients' spirits, but doubted her platform. I'm just cutting hair. A message like this stirred her certainty. She began speaking life over each client, declaring, I'm convinced God has a purpose for you, while styling. She cared for her salon's community garden, praying for her clients as she planted. One client battling grief found hope through Zara's words, leading to a salon prayer group that now thrives. Zara's not a therapist, she's a hairdresser whose conviction turned scissors into a ministry. What's the promise God's asking you to claim? How could your certainty inspire others? Let's talk about the power of innovation, using God-given creativity to solve problems and advance His kingdom. Ephesians 2:10 says, We are God's handiwork, created in Christ Jesus to do good works, which God prepared in advance for us to do. Innovation is your spark, chosen one, igniting fresh ways to serve, connect, and impact. Picture an inventor sketching a new design, each line a step toward possibility. That's you, reimagining how to fulfill your calling. Whether through a new outreach, a creative project, or a bold solution. Are you stuck in old patterns? This week, brainstorm one innovative idea for your purpose. A new way to share your faith, serve your community, or grow your vision. Write it down, pray over it. Lord, guide my creativity. This isn't novelty, it's necessity, unlocking new doors for God's glory. Let's address the trap of overthinking. Analysis can become paralysis, stalling your progress with endless what-ifs. Proverbs 16:3 says, Commit to the Lord whatever you do, and He will establish your plans. Overthinking is your detour, chosen one, pulling you from God's clear path into a fog of indecision. Picture a traveler hesitating at a crossroads, missing the road for fear of choosing wrong. That's what overthinking does, delays your divine purpose. Are you overanalyzing your next step? This week, make one decision without second guessing. Apply for a role, start a project, or trust a nudge. Commit it to God. Lord, I trust you with this choice. This isn't impulsiveness, it's obedience. Moving forward with faith in God's guidance. Let's make this practical again. 42nd, start a courage log to track bold moves. Each time you act, despite fear, speaking up, trying something new. Note it with a scripture like Joshua 1:9, be strong and courageous. This log isn't a list, it's a legacy, documenting your growth. Commit to one act of cultural engagement this week. Explore a tradition, story, or art form from another culture to broaden your perspective. Romans 12:16 urges, live in harmony with one another. This engagement isn't tourism, it's bridge building, reflecting God's heart for all people. These steps are your flames, chosen one, setting your faith journey ablaze. Let me share a story to ignite your innovation. Theo, a 44-year-old plumber from Atlanta, felt a call to help homeless families but lacked resources. "I'm no charity," he thought. A message like this sparked his creativity. He designed a mobile shower unit from spare pipes, offering free hygiene to those in need. He logged each courageous step, like pitching to churches, in a notebook. His first unit now serves dozens weekly, with plans for more. Theo's not a philanthropist. He's a plumber who innovated for God's glory. What's the creative solution God's stirring in you? How could your innovation change lives? Let's talk about the power of expectancy. Not just hope, but a proactive readiness for God's sudden moves. Habakkuk 2:1 says, "I will stand at my watch and station myself on the ramparts. I will look to see what he will say to me." Expectancy is your vigil, chosen one, standing poised for God's breakthroughs, ready to act when he moves. Picture a soldier watch, alert, scanning the horizon for the first sign of dawn. That's you anticipating God's intervention, whether in finances, relationships, or dreams. Are you prepared for his move? This week, prepare one practical step for a breakthrough you're expecting. Update your resume, reconcile a contact, or clear space for a new venture. This isn't presumption, it's preparation, positioning you for God's suddenlies. Let's pause here. If this message is setting your soul on fire, type "I am ready to rise" in the comments below. Your declaration is a war cry, uniting you with thousands of chosen ones charging toward their destiny. And if you feel led to help this message reach others standing at their divine threshold, consider supporting through super thanks. Your seed is a lightning bolt, electrifying hearts with hope. Let's surge forward. This video's unique angle is about standing in active expectancy, not just innovating or surrendering plans, but living on the edge of God's imminent miracles. Think of the woman with the issue of blood. Mark 5:28 records her resolve. "If I just touch his clothes, I will be healed." Her expectancy drove her through the crowd to Jesus' hem. You're that woman today, chosen one, reaching for God's power with bold anticipation. Every moment of expectancy positions you for divine encounters. What breakthrough are you readying for? Prepare and watch God move. Let's talk about the power of testimony. Not just your story, but the act of sharing it to spark faith in others. Revelation 12:11 says, "They triumphed over him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony." Your testimony is your weapon, chosen one, dismantling the enemy's lies and building bridges to hope. Picture a campfire, its glow drawing travelers to share their tales, each story warming the night. That's your voice, drawing others to God's light. Are you sharing what God's done? This week, tell one person a specific way God's moved in your life. A provision, a healing, a lesson. This isn't boasting, it's building, multiplying faith through your truth. Let's get practical again. 44th, start a miracle tracker app or notebook. Record every sign of God's faithfulness, big or small, like a timely call or a restored hope. Psalm 105:5 urges, "Remember the wonders he has done." This tracker isn't a tally, it's a testament, amplifying your faith. 45th, commit to one act of hospitality this week. Invite someone for a meal, coffee, or conversation to show God's love. Hebrews 13:2 says, "Do not forget to show hospitality to strangers." This act isn't hosting, it's holy, opening doors for divine connections. These steps are your beacons, chosen one, guiding you to your divine destiny. Let me share a story to fuel your testimony. Elena, a 35-year-old florist from Phoenix, overcame anxiety through prayer but kept it private. It's too personal, she thought. A message like this urged her to share. She told a co-worker how God calmed her panic, tracking each victory in a notebook. That story led her co-worker to church, sparking a ripple of faith. Elena's now a lay counselor, her testimony a lifeline for others. She's not a pastor, she's a florist whose story changed lives. What's the testimony God's asking you to share? How could your truth set others free? Let's talk about the power of adaptability. Not just pivoting, but thriving in God's unexpected redirects. 2 Corinthians 5:7 says, "We live by faith, not by sight." Adaptability is your agility, chosen one, embracing God's detours as divine pathways to your purpose. Picture a river carving a new course around a fallen tree, its flow undeterred, its destination unchanged. That's you navigating life's surprises, job changes, losses, new callings, with trust in God's plan. Are you resisting a redirect? This week, pray over one unexpected shift. Lord, show me your purpose here. Embrace it with one action, like exploring a new skill or opportunity. This isn't compromise, it's conquest, turning detours into destiny. Imagine a meteor shower cascading through the night, each streak a burst of divine brilliance, captivating all who witness its splendor. That's you, chosen one. A heavenly phenomenon, ordained to dazzle the world with a faith that burns brighter than any darkness. Your spiritual awakening isn't a glow, it's a conflagration, a holy inferno that will purify hearts and forge futures. Right now, the heavens are cheering, the shadows are fleeing, and the Creator is summoning you to blaze a trail that will inspire nations. This is your moment to incinerate doubt, to radiate glory, to become a living flame of God's eternal plan. Don't smolder. Explode and set the world alight. Let's talk about the power of commitment. Not just starting strong, but staying the course with unwavering resolve. Hebrews 12:1 urges, "Let us run with perseverance the race marked out for us." Commitment is your marathon, chosen one, a steadfast dedication to God's call through every mile, every ache, every temptation to quit. Picture a mountaineer scaling a peak, each step a vow to reach the summit, no matter the frost or fatigue. That's your faith, pressing forward, whether building a dream, healing a relationship, or growing in prayer, refusing to abandon the path. Are you fully committed to your purpose? This week, renew your vow to one goal. I will not stop until your calling is fulfilled. Seal it with a daily action like studying, serving, or seeking God. This isn't obligation, it's obsession, a holy fixation on God's promise. Now, let's make this practical again. 46. Start a commitment contract with yourself. Write a pledge to pursue one aspect of your calling for 30 days. Specific, measurable, like praying 10 minutes daily or writing 500 words weekly. Sign it and share it with a trusted friend for accountability. Ecclesiastes 5:5 says, "It is better not to make a vow than to make one and not fulfill it." This contract isn't legalism, it's loyalty, binding your heart to God's vision. 47th, commit to one act of outreach this week. Connect with someone outside your circle, a neighbor, a new colleague, and offer a small gesture of kindness like a conversation or a gift. Luke 14:23 says, "Go out to the roads and country lanes and compel them to come in." This outreach isn't networking, it's nearness, drawing others to God's love. These steps are your embers, chosen one, keeping your faith journey ablaze. Let me share a story to spark your commitment. Malik, a 32-year-old landscaper from Raleigh, felt a call to create green spaces for underserved kids, but wavered under long work hours. "I'll do it later," he'd say. A message like this fueled his resolve. He signed a personal contract to design one community garden in 30 days, starting with a single plot. He reached out to a local school, offering to plant flowers with students. That plot grew into a neighborhood park, now a haven for families. Malik's not a planner. He's a landscaper who stayed committed. What's the vow God's asking you to keep? How could your persistence transform lives? Let's talk about the power of authenticity. Not just being real, but living transparently as a vessel of God's truth. 1 John 1:7 says, "If we walk in the light, as He is in the light, we have fellowship with one another." Authenticity is your radiance, chosen one, shining God's truth through your unfiltered life, inviting others to do the same. Picture a stained glass window, its colors vibrant only when light pours through. That's you, letting God's light reveal your joys, struggles, and faith, creating beauty for others to see. Are you hiding parts of your story? This week, share one authentic truth with someone. Maybe a hope, a fear, or a lesson God's taught you. This isn't exposure, it's expression, building trust and pointing to God's grace. Now, let's address the weight of regret. The enemy uses past mistakes to chain you, whispering, "You've missed your chance." But Lamentations 3:22-23 declares, "Because of the Lord's great love we are not consumed, for His compassions never fail, they are new every morning." Regret is your phantom, chosen one, a shadow dispelled by God's mercy. Its course set by the stars. That's you, freed from yesterday's errors, navigating by God's new mercies. Are you dwelling on old failures? This week, release one regret. Write it down. Pray, "Lord, I give this to you," and destroy the paper. This isn't denial, it's deliverance, embracing God's fresh start for your breakthrough. Let's make this practical again. 49th, start a light journal to capture moments of authenticity. Each day, note one time you were fully yourself, shared a truth, acted in faith, and how it felt. Psalm 139:14 says, "I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made." This journal isn't reflection, it's revelation, celebrating your God-given design. 49th, commit to one act of renewal this week. Refresh a neglected area, your health, a hobby, a relationship, with a small step, like a walk, a craft, or a call. Isaiah 40:31 promises, "Those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength." This renewal isn't luxury, it's liberation, reviving your spirit for God's purpose. These steps are your sparks, chosen one, igniting your path to personal transformation. Let me share a story to fuel your authenticity. Sophia, a 47-year-old receptionist from San Diego, felt a call to support co-workers, but hid her struggles with loneliness. "They'll think I'm weak," she feared. A message like this urged her to be real. She shared her journey in a team meeting, admitting her isolation and how faith sustained her. She started a light journal, noting each honest moment. Her vulnerability led to a workplace prayer group, now a lifeline for many. Sophia's not a leader, she's a receptionist whose truth built community. What's the authentic truth God's asking you to share? How could your openness spark connection? Let's talk about the power of celebration, not just for victories, but for the journey itself as a gift from God. Zephaniah 3:17 says, "The Lord your God is with you. He will take great delight in you." Celebration is your anthem, chosen one, honoring God's presence in every step, not just the destination. Picture a festival. It's joy not tied to an outcome, but to the moment's vibrancy. That's your life, celebrating God's faithfulness in the process. Whether you're waiting, working, or winning, are you pausing to rejoice? This week, mark one moment of your journey with celebration. Cook a special meal, write a praise note, or dance to worship music. This isn't indulgence, it's adoration, magnifying God's goodness in your faith journey. Now, let's make this practical again. 50th, start a journey jar to celebrate progress. Each week, write one way God's moved in your life, a step forward, a lesson learned, and add it to a jar. Psalm 118:24 says, "This is the day the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it." This jar isn't a keepsake. It's a kingdom marker, honoring God's work. 51st, commit to one act of learning from history this week. Read a biography, watch a documentary, or ask an elder about their faith journey to inspire your own. Proverbs 19:20 says, "Listen to advice and accept discipline, and at the end you will be counted among the wise." This learning isn't academic, it's ancestral, drawing wisdom for your purpose. These steps are your banners, chosen one, waving high in your divine destiny. Let me share a story to ignite your celebration. Ravi, a 29-year-old programmer from Austin, felt a call to mentor youth, but was discouraged by slow progress. "I'm not making a difference," he thought. A message like this inspired him to celebrate the journey. He started a journey jar, adding notes like "Helped a teen with coding today." He read about a missionary's perseverance, fueling his own. His small group now mentors dozens, with Ravi rejoicing in each step. He's not a coach. He's a programmer who celebrates God's process. What's the journey moment God's asking you to honor? How could your joy shift your perspective? Let's talk about the power of influence, not control, but the subtle authority of a life lived for God's glory. Matthew 5:16 says, "Let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven." Influence is your glow, chosen one, drawing others to God through your character, actions, and love. Picture a candle in a dark room, its small flame guiding all who enter. That's you, impacting your workplace, family, or community by living faithfully. Are you stewarding your influence? This week, perform one intentional act of influence. Model patience, share wisdom, or stand for truth. This isn't manipulation, it's ministry. That's not fear trembling in your chest. It's the pulse of your spiritual awakening, the rhythm of a destiny you've felt but never fully named. You didn't stumble upon this message. Heaven hunted you down, chosen one, because tonight is your divine appointment, a sacred hour when everything changes. Before the clock strikes midnight, you will discover why every tear, every closed door, every sleepless night was not a punishment, but a preparation for a personal transformation so powerful it will echo through generations. Don't you dare scroll away. The next hour will rewrite your faith journey, shatter your doubts, and unlock the breakthrough you've been praying for. This is your moment to rise. Are you ready? Let me ask you something that might sting. Have you ever felt like God's promises were meant for everyone but you? Have you stood in crowded rooms, watching others step into their miracles while your prayers seem to vanish into silence? Maybe you've whispered in the dark, "Why not me, Lord? Why do their doors open while mine stay locked?" I see you, chosen one, carrying a weight no one else can see. A heaviness that whispers you're not enough, not chosen, not worthy. But tonight, God is rewriting that lie. Every struggle you faced, every rejection that bruised your heart, every dream that felt buried under the rubble of disappointment, it wasn't God abandoning you, it was God forging you. Picture a blacksmith hammering iron in a blazing fire. The blows hurt, the heat is unbearable, but the iron emerges stronger, sharper, ready for its purpose. That's you. Your pain wasn't pointless. It was divine preparation, shaping you for a destiny so magnificent it required a process most would never survive. But you did. You're still here, still believing, still hoping. That's not weakness. It's a signal you're on the edge of something massive. Courage isn't the absence of fear, it's obedience in its presence. Tonight you're not just facing fear, you're firing it as the guard of your destiny. Here's where this gets real. You're not just watching this video. You're standing at a threshold. Picture a radiant door, your name carved in celestial gold, pulsing with the promise of your divine purpose. This door doesn't lead to a cozy room of comfort. It opens to a battlefield where you're not just protected, you're the protector, not just served, but the servant. Not just receiving fire, but becoming it. Luke 12:48 warns, "To whom much is given, much will be required." Being chosen isn't about privilege, it's about responsibility. Behind this door are broken souls you're called to heal, dreams you're destined to birth, and generational curses you're anointed to break. This isn't just about your breakthrough, it's about the lives tied to your obedience, the families waiting for your testimony, the communities needing your courage. But this door has a timer, and it's counting down. Isaiah 55:6 urges, "Seek the Lord while he may be found. Call on him while he is near." Why while? Because divine opportunities have expiration dates. Miss this moment, and you might miss the destiny written for you. Let's pause for a moment. If this message is stirring your soul, if you feel that flicker of hope igniting, type, "I am ready to rise" in the comments below. Your declaration isn't just words. It's a spiritual contract, a signal to heaven that you're ready to step into your calling. And if this message is resonating deep within, consider supporting through super thanks to help us reach more chosen ones standing at their own thresholds. Your generosity isn't just a gift, it's a seed sown into someone else's breakthrough. Now, let's keep moving. So, how do you step through this door? It's not enough to feel inspired, you need to act. Faith without works is dead, says James 2:17. Your destiny doesn't need more prayers for open doors, it needs legs to walk through them. Let's make this practical. First, write down one goal for this week. Maybe it's starting that business God placed on your heart, applying for that job you've delayed. Grab a notebook right now and write, "This week I will." This isn't just a task. It's a declaration of faith, a step toward your divine purpose. Second, reach out to someone you need to forgive or reconnect with. Maybe it's a parent you haven't spoken to in years or a friend you've drifted from. Send a text or make a call today. That action isn't just reconciliation, it's breaking chains of bitterness that have held back your breakthrough. Third, take one step toward a dream you've shelved. If God gave you a vision for a ministry, register a domain name. If it's a creative project, sketch the first idea. These steps aren't random. They're seeds planted in faith, watered by obedience, that will grow into your personal transformation. Let me share a story to make this real. Meet Anna, a single mother from Chicago, who watched a message like this 6 months ago. For years, she felt called to start a community program for at-risk teens, but was paralyzed by fear. "I'm just a receptionist. I don't have the money or the know-how." Yet something stirred in her spirit. She wrote down her goal: start a mentorship program by summer. She called a local pastor she hadn't spoken to in years, asking for guidance. She took one step, creating a flyer on her old laptop. Today, Anna's program serves 25 teens, funded by local churches and a small grant she applied for on a whim. Her fear didn't vanish, she acted through it. Her story isn't a fairy tale, it's proof that one step in faith can unlock doors you never imagined. What's your step, chosen one? What's the one action God's been whispering to you? Now, let's address the elephant in the room: doubt. You're thinking, what if I'm not really chosen? What if this is just hype? That doubt isn't wisdom. It's the enemy's last attempt to keep you from your breakthrough. Ephesians 1:4 declares, "He chose us in him before the foundation of the world." Before you took your first breath, God pointed at you and said, "That one's mine." Your doubts don't disqualify you, they authenticate you. Every hero in Scripture wrestled with doubt. Gideon hid in a winepress, yet God called him a mighty warrior. Peter sank in the waves, yet Jesus made him the rock of the church. Your doubt isn't a barrier, it's a bridge to deeper faith. Name it, call it out, and step over it. The door is open, and your destiny is waiting. Picture this: a vast battlefield, the air thick with spiritual warfare. Angels are stationed, swords drawn, guarding the path to your divine purpose. Demons tremble, knowing your awakening threatens their hold over your bloodline. This isn't just about you. It's about the generations you'll free, the lives you'll touch, the legacy you'll build. Revelation 3:8 proclaims, "I have set before you an open door, which no one is able to shut." That door is open now, but it won't stay open forever. Jesus didn't say, wait for perfect conditions. He said, strive to enter through the narrow door, for many will seek to enter and will not be able. Luke 13:24. The clock is ticking, chosen one. Will you step through, or will you let fear write the end of your story? Let's pause again. If this message is igniting a fire in your spirit, type "I am ready to rise" in the comments. Your words are a beacon connecting you to a community of chosen ones across the globe, all stepping toward their destiny. And if you feel led, consider sowing a seed through Super Thanks to help this message reach others who need to hear it. Your support isn't just financial, it's a declaration that you believe in the power of this moment. Let's keep going. Here's where this video stands apart. It's not about chasing fleeting blessings, but about overcoming fear to claim your eternal calling. Too many messages promise quick fixes, but this one unveils how your deepest fears are the keys to your greatest breakthroughs. Think about David facing Goliath. His fear wasn't the giant's size, it was the weight of a nation's freedom on his shoulders. Yet he slung that stone, not because he felt fearless, but because he trusted God's promise. Your fear, whether it's starting over, forgiving someone, or stepping into the unknown, is the stone in your sling. Use it. Act through it. Your breakthrough lies on the other side. Let's get practical again. Fourth action step, identify one fear holding you back. Write it down. I'm afraid of, fill in the blank. Maybe it's, I'm afraid of failing again, or I'm afraid people will judge me. Now, beside it, write one action